Hello, welcome to Back in the Game. Today I'm looking at augments as part of the new chapter. Now, as far as I'm aware, as of today, which is December 8th, I am not aware of them being in the game. I've seen other language in the menus saying that they're coming soon, but I have not seen them available in the game. But if you go over to quests, hit collections, and then head up to augments, you'll see that there are 4 categories of augments, similar to what we had in previous chapters. So I think I'm just going to run through these as a very casual, not great player, like an old dad, basically. Anyways, here we're going to look at the combat category first. Here we've got 4 different augments, the first of which is Cluster Collector. Gain 2 cluster clingers. Eliminations grant additional cluster clingers. Now, I would have definitely in previous chapters and seasons, I would have totally written this off if I was getting grenades or even those sticky, like the suction cup grenades, because they just sucked. I mean, even before they nerfed the damage on the grenades, I just never used them. I'd much rather use like fireflies or something if I was going to use something like that. But I'm finding that I'm using cluster clingers a lot in these first few days of the new chapter. Really, I'm using them a lot, both early in the game and in end-game situations, especially, or most especially, when in squads. So early in the game, I found them just as floor loot and just had them in my inventory, and they've been great dealing with the mobs of NPCs and players that congregate around the medallion bosses. Man, if you have a squad group and 2 or 3 of you find these as floor loot, or if you have like maybe 4 of them, you're gonna wreck things when it comes to the that boss little mob that forms. Probably the best time to drop it would be right after the boss gets that big shield buff, and those other, I think it's 2 or 4 additional NPCs spawn in, and then you can just drop these things like mad. That's a really fun one, I think, just because of the way cluster clingers are working this particular chapter, but in season. So we'll see what else we got here. We got laser precision is the second one in the combat category. Weapons with a laser mod deal slightly increased headshot damage. Gain a rare weapon with a laser mod. We've seen augments like this in past seasons, but laser mod is not something I've been using a lot. I'm still really getting used to the mods. I'm pretty much picking up loot, and then the only thing I'm building at this point is a sniper rifle, and that's if it's early in the game. Laser mod is not one that I've been using a lot, and even if I was, it deals slightly increased headshot damage. It's going to depend on what slightly increased means. If it means it's doing 2 more damage, or 4 more damage every headshot, then that might actually be awesome if you use SMG and pistol a lot. If it's just like 10% more damage across the board, whatever weapon you're using and rate of fire, then it's probably not going to be as great, especially because it's only laser. I'm not very bullish on this one. And the gain a rare weapon could be cool, like early in the game, like situationally, if it's the first augment you get and for some reason, you're out of ammunition or something, you've just been grinding and you just need a weapon. Or maybe late in the game, for some reason, you're out of weapons or whatever because you've lasted so long. So weirdly, just very situational on that one. Third one in the combat category, augments, is Barrier Breaker. Weapons with a muzzle break mod deal increased structure damage. Gain a rare weapon with a muzzle break mod. So again, gaining a rare weapon with a muzzle break, gaining a rare weapon might be great. Again, early in the game, if you've just gotten really bad loot. So situationally, as a primary 0 build player, I'm not going to be looking for the structure damage. The only time I might pick this up would be late in the game, and I'm playing squads, and one of us, maybe me, I don't even need to tell the rest of the guys. I just take this, and with a sniper rifle, maybe I can knock down rocks and stuff, or trees, and just clear out the area around our hill, or better yet, knock down cover that the enemy team has. So again, very situational. The only time I typically do engage in those kind of long-range fights, or want to engage in them, is in the end game. That's just because it's much more likely you're going to get third party if you're doing that. But yeah, I don't know, very situational, maybe squads. Fourth one here in combat is Shield Suppressor. Weapons with suppressors deal increased damage to shields. Gain a rare weapon with a suppressor. Again, the gain of rare weapon, situational, highly unlikely you're going to need that, but it could pop up, so keep your eye out for it if you're in a really tough spot. The problem for me there is if I'm in such a spot where I'm out of ammunition or I need a weapon, like to scroll through and take shield suppressor, just because I'm going to be using my processing power on probably more important things than going to this particular augment, which I never ever pick, and I don't probably have in my mind instantly what it's going to give me. So I don't know. These last three in combat are not giving me a lot of warm and fuzzies. And then dealing damage to shields is really interesting because this season, I feel like there's a lot of shields, like between the medallions and all the movement effects on the slurps, the fact that you can walk around with them while taking them, and they do heals over time, that I'm not using minis, and I've got plenty of heals all the time. There's been many times where I've been at 150 shield and, like 20 white health. So the fact that it's doing additional damage to shields, I don't know. There might be a particular situation I'm not thinking of off the top of my head where that might be advantageous in like squads or something, but it's not popping to mind. Weirdly, Cluster Collector's looking pretty cool to me right now. Second category of augments is Game Changer. We got 3 augments here, first of which is Jump Time. Gain a super sprint every 20 seconds. Now that's cool. I like additional mobility. This is going to be something that you're doing all the time. So you're basically guaranteed at 1 super sprint jump every combat you're in, unless you're if you're third party, maybe 2, you'll get 1 there. The problem I kind of see with this one is I'm not going to know exactly when 20 seconds is, and I'm either going to get it when I don't want it, or I'm going to be hitting the jump button thinking I'm going to get it, but it's only been like 19 and a half seconds. Now, unless this has like a cooldown meter or something on the, like maybe above the energy bar above your health, there's some sort of indicator to show you the cooldown on it, and then you're like tied into that, then it might be worth having. I think you might trip yourself up. At least I certainly would probably trip myself up a lot learning how to use it correctly. It reminds me of an augment we had last chapter. I don't know what season it was, but where you get the like the super jump ability but only when you're sprinting, which was fine. And I used to actually, it was a really great augment. But when I first was learning, like the first 5 matches, I tripped myself up a couple times because I either wasn't expecting it or I was expecting it, but I wasn't sprinting. That's just a old man thing. But anyways, that one seems okay, Jump Time. Moving on to the second one here, we've got Shield Breakaway. Gain the slap effect when your shield breaks, excluding your overshield. So basically, when you're cracked down to white health, you're going to be able to have a slap run and that, I'm assuming, your slap jump. This could be okay. Me personally, I'd probably take a more offensive thing, not because I'm necessarily offensive focused, but if you can end the battle sooner, then you're probably better off. Even then, I don't know if I'm taking this one. Swift Combatant is the last one here in the Game Changer section. We've got gain increased movement speed while aiming down sights, reloading, and after downing enemies. Now this is something, Swift Combatant, increased movement speed while aiming down sight, reloading. These are all things you're going to be doing all the time in combat. This is something that helps you when you need it the most, as opposed to the healing ones, which you're healing at least half the time between battles, and it's not really doing you much good. Here, these kind of augments I love these kind because basically when you need them, they're there. When you actually need that advantage, they're always there and they're not being wasted somewhere else. And they're passive, meaning that none of this is going to trip you up. This looks really awesome to me, actually, in the Game Changer category compared to the other 2. Moving on to the third category of augments, we've got mobility and scouting. 4 augments here, first of which is Water Rifter. Get rifted into the air when you swim into a fishing spot, or if you stay in the water for 15 seconds. 15 seconds is that's a long time. So if you're in a combat, don't be counting on that to get you out of there, I don't think. With the way the circles are closing right now, if you get this first thing, it might be cool. So you guaranteed rift out using the ocean. Or if you see, maybe you've got the forecast towers and you see that the next 2 circles are closing on the lake or something, or a lot of water, and then it might be worth taking, late in the game. Certainly people are not going to be expecting rapturing out of the fishing spot. It might be worth taking just for the surprise and humor of it all. Second one here is Soothing Slap. Gain slap energy regen after using any healing consumable. Now, this one's actually pretty cool. We're just talking down about, healing because it's not when you're using it very often. But in a situational predicament that you might be in, like a healing in combat, this might actually be great. So even though I was just talking about taking augments like this, where, because you're healing only maybe half the time in combat, when you are the slap effect is going to be something that's really helping you out. I see this one as actually a pretty decent augment. Storm Chase, reduce the amount of stamina drained while tactical sprinting, reduced further while in the storm. I'm going to move on to the fourth one here. Aquatic Warrior, because it's very similar. You move faster and regenerate health and partial shields while in a body of water, except while in the storm. So, I mean, I'm usually in the body of water trying to get out of storm, so it's not helping me there. And again, unless it's like the very end of the game and you just are in water, I mean, it might be clutch to get it then, but I'm not taking it at the beginning of the game because it's just very rarely are you going to use this. When you do, it might be some really cool clutch surprise thing, but I'm not going to risk that whole game on that. So yeah, situationally, end of game might be useful. Last category in the augments is looting, and we've got 3 different augments here. We've got mini reward, which is instantly gain mini shields and additional mini shields when opening containers. Now, I'm not using minis at all unless I just pick them up off the ground right at the beginning. There's so many awesome shield heals here in this chapter, not the least of which are the medallions. But even without the medallions, the fact that you can walk around with a 50 pot, and if you get shot or you have to like step up and away because of combat and only get 20 of it, you get the 20. It's just, I'm not even carrying minis. So I don't really see this one. Again, situationally end a game and you're out because you're instantly gain minis and you're in, it's the final 2 groups or 3 groups and you're totally out. It might be worth taking. Situational only there for me. Second one, Agile Mending, reduce the movement speed penalty while channeling healing item. Very situational, and I don't know if I want to reduce movement speed penalty. Like if I'm trying to run away from it, I don't know. I'm usually trying to stay as still as possible, make as little noise as possible, healing in combat. Third one is Soothing Slap. Gain slap energy regen after using any healing consumable. I mean, this is a duplicate of what we just saw over here in mobility and scouting. It's one of my faves. So my top here are going to definitely be with a bullet, Cluster Collector. Totally hilarious. Here in Game Changer, I'm definitely going to go Swift Combatant and get all the movement speed in all those times we need it the most. Here, I didn't see these last 2 as being that great, and Soothing Slap is available in the next one, so I'm going to go Water Rifter, and I'm listing these not because I need to, I'm just by category. Obviously, you could take all 4 of these if they happen to come up. You don't have to take them by category, but I'm going to go Water Rifter for this category, and then here, Soothing Slap, because the other 2 are just too situational. Anyways, thanks so much for joining us on our first video. Take care and have a great week.